The sound of heavy boots echoed through the long metal hallway. The air smelled of rust and oil, and the cold light above flickered like it was afraid of what was coming. Two massive reptilian guards marched forward, dragging a human by chains. Ethan. Cole's feet scraped the floor. His wrists were cuffed with thick alien steel. His face was bruised, a fresh cut bleeding just above his eyebrow. His prison uniform was torn, covered in dust and dried blood. But his eyes were not broken. The alien warden walked behind them, his scaled tail swaying slowly. His voice was deep, each word dripping with cruel pleasure. You think humans are strong. You will not last a minute in the pit. Ethan didn't answer. He only stared at the floor, letting the words pass over him like cold wind. The hallway ended at a massive round door. Strange glowing symbols ran across its surface, pulsing faintly. Behind that door was a place every prisoner feared, a place. No one returned from the guards pressed their claws against a scanner. A loud hiss filled the air as the door slowly opened. A wave of heat and the stench of rot rolled out. The smell was thick, heavy, almost alive. The guards shoved Ethan forward, forcing him to stand at the edge. Down below was a huge, dark pit. The floor was covered in shadows, broken only by faint shafts of light from high above. Somewhere inside something moved, slow, heavy, breathing, like a giant machine. The alien warden leaned close to Ethan's ear. This is where we feed the beast. It likes to play before it kills. If you scream, the crowd will enjoy it more. High above, behind thick glass, other aliens gathered in the viewing area. They whispered in excitement, placing bets on how long this human would last. Some laughed, some shouted cruel words. None believed he had a chance. The warden raised his claw. Drop him. The guards unlocked the chains from the wall and pushed Ethan forward. His body fell through the hot air, landing hard on the dusty floor below. Pain shot through his knees, but he didn't cry out. He slowly stood, brushing dirt from his hands. The door above slammed shut, sealing him in dot. Ethan looked around. The pit was huge, wide enough for a small ship to land inside. The walls were high and smooth, impossible to climb. Strange claw marks covered the stone, deep enough to break bone. Bones were scattered across the ground, some alien, some human. Then he heard it, a low growl that came from the far side of the pit, deep in the shadows. Two yellow eyes appeared, glowing faintly in the dark. The creature stepped forward, its massive claws scraping the floor. Its skin was thick, black, and ridged like armor. Saliva dripped from its long, jagged teeth. It was the Korath, a predator, feared across the galaxy, 12 feet tall, built like a nightmare, and faster than any human could hope to be. The crowd above roared with excitement. They pounded the glass and shouted for the beast to kill quickly. Ethan didn't move. His heartbeat was steady, his breathing calm. He watched the creature the way a hunter watches his prey, studying every step, every twitch of muscle. The Korath lowered its head and sniffed the air. A deep rumble rolled from its chest. Then, without warning, it charged. Its heavy footsteps shook the ground. Dust rose with each stride. Its jaws opened wide, ready to crush bone. But just before the beast reached him, Ethan stepped aside, smooth, fast, almost inhuman. The Korath's claws scraped the floor where he had stood. The crowd gasped. The beast spun around, confused for a second. Ethan's face stayed calm, his eyes sharp. From above, the warden frowned, Something was different about this one. Humans usually screamed. They usually begged. But this one looked like he was waiting for the fight. The Korath roared again, louder this time. It stomped forward, shaking the dust from its claws. Ethan slowly tightened his fists. Under the dim light, his knuckles looked like stone. His stance shifted, his weight balanced. The alien guards whispered among themselves. Why isn't he afraid? Maybe he's too stupid to know he's dead. Or maybe, one muttered, he's something else. The beast circled him, its tail whipping back and forth. Ethan turned with it, never breaking eye contact. The crowd was no longer laughing. They were leaning forward, silent, sensing the tension. The Korath made its second move, faster, sharper, claws slashing through the air. Ethan ducked low, rolled across the dirt, and came up behind it. He didn't attack yet. He only smiled faintly, as if testing his opponent. Above, the warden slammed his claw against the glass. Kill him, he shouted to the beast. Tear him apart. The Korath roared in reply, a sound so deep it rattled the walls. But Ethan didn't flinch. Instead, he whispered under his breath, words no one above could hear. Let's see if you can keep up. And in that moment, something in his eyes changed, a faint golden light flickering deep within. The crowd didn't understand what they were seeing. The aliens thought this was still just a fight between a man and a monster, but Ethan knew this was the beginning of something far bigger. The Korath's breath came in deep, angry bursts. Each exhale carried the smell of blood and something older, something ancient. Its claws scraped slow lines in the dirt, the sound sharp like knives. High above, the alien crowd had stopped bedding. Their laughter was gone, replaced by quiet murmurs. Something about this human was unsettling. The Korath moved first, with a sudden burst of speed. The beast leaped forward, covering the distance between them in less than a second. Its jaws opened wide enough to swallow Ethan's head whole, but Ethan stepped to the side again, quick, precise, and the monster's teeth slammed shut on empty air. The crowd gasped. Ethan didn't just dodge. He pivoted on one foot and struck the beast's side with a short, controlled punch. The sound was like hitting metal. The Korath stumbled a step, more surprised than hurt. From the viewing deck, the warden's tail lashed angrily. He's mocking it, he growled. The Korath shook its head, saliva flying from its teeth. Its glowing eyes narrowed. This was no normal prey. It circled Ethan now, slower, watching. Ethan mirrored its movements, his boots making soft prints in the dust. Then, the beast tried something new. It lashed its tail like a whip. The thick, armored tail cut through the air with a sound like cracking stone. Ethan ducked, but the tail still grazed his shoulder, spinning him halfway around. Pain shot through his arm. He didn't show it. Instead, he looked back at the beast and smiled a small, sharp smile that made the watching aliens lean closer. The Korath roared in frustration. It lunged again, both claws raised to crush. This time, Ethan moved into the attack. He dropped low, rolled beneath the beast's chest, and slammed his elbow into the soft joint under its front leg. The Korath screamed, not in pain, but in rage. It spun and swiped with one massive claw, barely missing Ethan's head. The warden's voice was low now, almost thoughtful. That's not fear, that's training. Ethan stood straight again, dust clinging to his clothes. His breathing was calm, measured, while the beast's sides heaved from exertion. He raised one hand and curled his fingers in a slow motion, a silent challenge. "Come on," he said quietly. "Show me what you really are." The Korath's muscles tensed. The air between them felt heavy, like the moment before a storm. And then, without warning, both predator and human moved at the same time. Dust exploded around them as Ethan and the Korath clashed at the same instant. The beast's claws came down like twin blades, but Ethan's hands shot up, catching the wrists mid-strike. The crowd gasped. No human should be able to stop a Korath's attack. Not with bare hands. Not without having their arms snapped in half. The beast roared, pushing harder, muscles bulging beneath its black armor-like hide. Ethan's boots dug deep grooves into the dirt, but he didn't move. His grip held firm, as if an invisible force anchored him to the ground. The golden flicker returned to his eyes, brighter now, burning like molten metal. The Korath snarled and pulled back for another strike. Ethan moved faster this time, stepping in close and slamming his palm into the creature's chest. A shockwave burst from the impact. Dust lifted from the floor in a ring. The beast staggered backward, claws scraping the ground to keep balance. From above, the warden's scaled face twitched. "What is he?" he whispered. Memories flickered through Ethan's mind, the training chambers deep under Earth's surface, the years of brutal conditioning, the injections, the experiments. He remembered running through gravity fields so heavy they broke normal men's bones. He remembered the commanders telling him, "You're not just a soldier anymore. You're our weapon." The Korath snarled again, lowering itself for a full charge. Its roar shook the viewing glass above. Ethan's breathing slowed even more. His body loosened, but his eyes stayed locked on the beast. The monster charged, faster, harder, every muscle straining. But just as it reached him, Ethan moved in a blur. One moment he was there, the next he was behind the creature. His arm wrapped around its thick neck. The crowd shouted in shock. Some pressed against the glass to see better. The Korath thrashed, twisting its massive body, but Ethan's grip didn't break. Instead of choking it to death, he whispered something into its ear, soft, calm words that no one else could hear. The beast froze. It didn't pull away. It didn't swipe. It just stood there, its chest rising and falling in slow, deep breaths. From above, the aliens stared in disbelief. The human had tamed the untamable. And then Ethan looked up at the viewing deck, his golden eyes locking on the warden. The calm in his voice carried all the way to the glass. "You have no idea what you've put in here with me." The pit fell silent. Even the alien crowd, always hungry for blood, said nothing. Ethan stood with one hand resting lightly on the Korath's thick neck. The beast's yellow eyes no longer burned with hunger. They watched him, alert, almost respectful. From above, the warden slammed a claw against the control panel. "Kill him," he roared, but the Korath didn't move. Guards in black armor rushed into the viewing deck, unsure if they were there to protect the warden or to kill the human. Ethan's voice was calm, but every syllable cut through the air like a blade. "You threw me in here to die. Now you'll watch me walk out." The Korath's nostrils flared. It turned its head toward the thick steel gate that sealed the pit. A low growl rumbled in its chest. Ethan stepped back and gave a short nod. The beast charged. The first impact rattled the walls, dust falling from the ceiling. The second hit bent the steel inward. The third tore the gate completely off its hinges, sending it crashing into the corridor beyond. The alien crowd erupted in chaos. Some shouted in excitement, others in panic. The warden's scaled face was pale now, his tail lashing nervously. Ethan climbed onto the Korath's back, gripping the ridges of its armor-like hide. The beast moved forward like a living battering ram, smashing through guards, sending weapons clattering across the floor. Bolts of alien plasma fire streaked past Ethan's head. He leaned low, the Korath twisting and dodging with animal instinct. A guard tried to stab upward with an electrified spear, but the beast swiped him aside, tossing him into a wall like a ragdoll. Ethan didn't just fight, he directed. His shouts guided the Korath's movements, turning its raw strength into a weapon of precision. One guard, trembling, raised his weapon but froze when Ethan's eyes locked on him. That golden light was brighter now, almost inhuman. The Korath smashed through another bulkhead, revealing the main prison floor. Sirens wailed. Dozens of prisoners, humans and aliens alike, stared as the beast and its rider stormed through. Some of them whispered in disbelief. Others pressed their hands to the glass of their cells, their faces lit with something dangerous. Hope. Ethan pulled the Korath to a stop, just long enough to glance at the warden through a high observation window. He raised his voice so every camera could hear. You think humanity is weak because you've only seen our chains. Pray you never see us free. The beast roared, the sound carrying through every corridor of the prison. And then they charged again, not away from the danger, but straight toward the heart of it. The corridors ahead were chaos, alarms blaring, red warning lights flashing against steel walls. Alien guards poured in from every direction, weapons ready. Ethan leaned forward, whispering something to the Korath. The beast let out a deep, earth-shaking roar and charged. Plasma bolts streaked through the air, burning holes into walls and floor, but the Korath moved like a storm-given flesh. Its claws tore through bulkheads, its tail smashed gun barrels aside, and its sheer size sent guards scattering in fear. Ethan moved like part of the creature, using its momentum to leap down and take weapons from stunned guards. Each strike was fast, clean, and merciless. He didn't waste a single movement. They reached the main hangar, a cavernous space where alien ships rested in docking cradles. Giant doors loomed at the far end, sealed tight. The warden's voice crackled over the loudspeakers. You can't escape, human. Even if you reach the stars, we will hunt you. Ethan looked up at the nearest camera. The golden light in his eyes flared brighter than ever. No, he said calmly. You'll remember this and pray you never see us again. The Korath lowered its head, then charged straight for the hangar's reinforced blast doors. The impact boomed like thunder. Metal bent. Sparks rained down. The second hit tore them open. Beyond, the cold black of space stretched wide and endless. Stars glittering like 1,000 watching eyes. An automated force field shimmered over the opening. Holding the vacuum at bay, Ethan swung himself onto the nearest small transport ship, the Korath climbing in after him with surprising grace. Inside, controls lit up in alien script. Ethan's hands moved quickly. The human super soldier program had trained him to fly more than just Earth's ships. Engines roared to life. The ship lifted, spun, and shot out into the dark dot as they passed the edge of the prison's sensor. Range. Ethan looked at the beast beside him. The Korath stared back, calm and steady. It no longer saw him as prey. It saw him as something more. He leaned back in the pilot's seat and allowed himself the smallest smile. Let's find somewhere they can't follow. Behind them, The prison floated like a wounded beast in the black void. Inside, alien whispers spread through the corridors. The story of the human who walked into the pit and walked out with the beast at his side. No one said it aloud, but they all felt the same chill in their bones. If one human could do this, what could an army do?